Let's start with these brand new CNN numbers. Democrats are going to like them. Republicans will probably say, oh, it's an outlier. But look at this. Democrats now in our generic ballot. You ask, this is a national poll. You ask Americans, who do you plan to vote for Congress? Democrats right now with a 2-point edge. They were down. If you looked to earlier in the month, the Democrats were down 4. I assume, Julie Pace, that the White House still think this is a good sign. They think that if anything the Democrats can do to come, this is not like, folks, it's not like Democrats are going to, Nancy Pelosi's probably not going to be Speaker. Democrats are probably not going to pick up Senate seats. But those better numbers 5 weeks out tells you something about this volatile climate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to have those numbers hit now at a time when most Americans are going to just start tuning in to this midterm election, I mean, we have to be honest, a lot of people have not been paying attention for many months, is good for Democrats if they can try to capitalize on some of this momentum. I think one of the challenges for the president, though, over the next couple of weeks is going to be, what does he talk about? As we get deeper into this poll, there's going to be a lot of questions about national security, about the Islamic State group. But for a lot of Americans, it's still the economy. And what kind of message can he send on the economy over the next couple of weeks, I think could be key to whether Democrats pull this out or not.
So let's look a little deeper. Forgive me, but let's look a little deeper before we get into it. Because this shift, Democrats now with a slight edge in what we call the generic ballot for Congress, is all because of men. The gender gap is about the same. Women are still voting for Democrats. But if you look now, look at the choice among men. Democrats doing much better. They're still losing among men, but they're doing much better than they were a little bit ago. And, Ron, I'm going to connect it to this. How is Congress handling ISIS? 33% approve of how the Congress is handling the ISIS debate, 60% disapprove. And to Julie's point, let's get this last number in. We did ask voters, though, what's most important to your vote when you decide to vote for Congress? The economy still trumps, but 29%, that's moving up as an issue. ISIS, how much is that becoming a campaign?
It's becoming one. I don't know at the end of the day how much of it is. We have to be real careful with this poll. It's an incredible poll that you caught right at an interesting inflection point. I think it reflects how good of a week, maybe 10 days, that President Obama has had with ISIS. He went to the UN, gave a very strong speech after a very clear speech with a plan about, 4 or 5 days before that. So especially these men who thought the president was at least looking weak and being indecisive and not taking ISIS seriously, he showed all those things, at least for a short time being, were wrong, that he is looking presidential. The question is, does he revert back to form? And I think we saw a little bit of that Sunday night when he threw James Clapper underneath the bus. That's the kind of thing that can make these poll numbers go back down.
Right, blaming the Director of National Intelligence for not underestimating ISIS there.